Getting a haircut today?
No, I just shaved all this stuff.
Oh, it always makes your hair look longer when you shave.
I know. This was getting really bad.
Alrighty, I look taller than you because I'm sitting up. We really need like a good opening line that we just use every time because otherwise it feels kind of awkward.
It changes every time.
You can teach skills. Skills are easy to teach. It's who somebody is and a personality style, and that's hard to teach.
Yep.
Great, humble bosses want to learn and want to be better. Hi guys, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Justin.
And you are watching Fireside Chat with the Johnstons.
Yes, you are. That is a fact.
Just in case you weren't sure.
Yes.
That's what you've got on.
Thanks for pointing that out.
We really need like a good opening line that we just use every time because otherwise it feels kind of awkward.
It changes every time because sometimes I say my name first and then you say your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like it gets.
Boy, that's hard.
Yeah, it's
just
pretty difficult.
Figure out how that's supposed to go. Oh, okay. Well, we start off every episode of Fireside Chat with good news.
Yeah, so good news is we're getting closer and closer to one of my favorite events that we do at our gym, which is Trunk or Treat. So we have a meeting today to talk about it, and I get to buy laser lights for our Trunk or Treat. So I'm super pumped. I asked for like $2,000 worth of laser lights, and I got knocked down to less, but that's okay. I still get laser lights. So.
He gets to get like $50 ones off Temu.
No, that's not right. Oh.
But he's going to make a lot less people mad this year because the fireworks last year, there were a few people who loved them.
Yeah.
And the other 5,000 just really got freaked out when Justin would randomly set off bottle rockets and firecrackers.
I didn't think it was random, but every time a new song started, I would just shoot off another one. But I guess that was random to people. So
just to the 3-year-olds that started crying.
Yeah.
So great event. Actually, we have the Facebook event out, and so far it actually looks bigger, like more people. Yep. We kind of gauge it off of how many people say they're going or interested on what we can expect, since it's one of the only events of the year that doesn't require pre-registration. And I actually think so far for early September, it has the most amount of people we've ever had. So that's a little bit scary.
Oh, by the way, today's episode is brought to you by overly priced metal cups called Stanley and Alani, because I need to stay awake. And we're actually doing this in the morning. So
we actually should get paid for this.
Yeah.
Anybody got any good connections to Alani?
You know what I like about Alani's, though? They don't make me jittery. Like, it's just enough energy to, like, wake me up. I don't use them every day, but when I do need to, like, wake up.
Just like most days.
Yeah, just like when I need to wake up. But it doesn't make me, like... But I don't drink coffee, so that's probably... This is my coffee, I guess.
Yeah.
Or it could be.
Okay, so good news for me.
Yeah, what is your good news?
The Chiefs are starting off well.
Right there.
That was a strange chest bump that the microphone probably
I bet that
very
really,
awkwardly.
Yeah, I bet that was loud.
I realize you guys are watching this a little bit after the games, but boy, we're good this year. I hope that maintains for the next game before you guys see this.
You saw one game and you're like, boy, we're good this year.
Actually, last year, we were really not that great and we won the Super Bowl. So, like, if we could be better, it's going to be a three-peat.
Yeah.
And we had our Italian foreign exchange student with us last night watching the game. And she's like, I don't understand anything about football. But every time we scored, she would look at us like, this is crazy. And her dad in Italy, it was 5 a.m. there. He had gotten up to watch the game also.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, today we're going to talk about employees and staff and what happens when you have a good staff member, but you want to make them a great staff member.
Yeah. What do you do?
And that's the end of the episode. That's actually just a question for you. No, I'm kidding. Please tell us.
You look at me awkwardly like I'm supposed to like add to it. Yeah. Let's talk about it now.
Okay. So we've got 6 ways that you can be a better boss and create a better employee and a better staff altogether.
6.
What's wrong with you today? Keep drinking the Alani, Justin.
Yeah, they're really bringing out the best in me. So,
oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Number 1, identify what their best skills are.
Oh, because you want to identify the worst skills. We've identified your worst skills.
It says, would anybody else like to be the co-host for Fireside Chat? I'm taking applications at the moment.
I'm just master of the obvious on this.
Actually, you don't even have to apply. Just be here.
Okay. What do you expect? I haven't slept for 4 days.
So identify what their best skills are. And guys, if you think that like this is a no-brainer, we recently took a culture index. We did it both at Twisters. We did it with Next Gen.
You threw that out really fast. A cultural index?
Culture index.
If I'd never heard of that before, I'd be like, what the heck is that?
Okay, so
for real, like
this culture index was a test. Am I going slow enough now?
Oh my gosh, yes.
It is a test. That
It's not the emergency broadcast system. Go.
Guys, we're never going to get through this episode.
This is ridiculous.
It is a test that you take that identifies what was your work style as of the age of 14, because at 14, we typically don't change a whole lot in like your human nature and like basically your work style and habits and who you are.
Yep. You've formed as a person and who you are at that time.
So we took this cultural index. It was kind of this strange test that we all didn't really understand how it was going to tell you anything about anybody. And it turns out it was identical to our personalities, both in Next Gen and in Twisters. I don't think I saw any surprises. And you would think like, what's the point in taking it then? But honestly, there was some good self-realizations that helped me identify why I get frustrated sometimes, or what my strengths actually are, so that I can embrace those more.
And what age did it say that it started at?
14.
So if you think your husband has never grown up from high school, it's true.
Well, that's probably
pretty true.
That's probably true. So anyway, there's lots of different options out there as far as identifying strengths. You can certainly do personality tests, but there's definitely a benefit in doing something that's work related, because you're going to find what kind of work style do they have. Patrick Lencioni, he wrote The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, The Motive, like all these great books. And I just listened to a podcast yesterday about your 6 working geniuses. And that's another
that sounds cool.
Different test. But it kind of like, I can already kind of tell you're the inventor, because it talks in there about how some people like to start things, but they struggle with the implementation or the logistics, or like just asking why, or the tenacity, like the completion side of it. And so it is interesting, because as I was listening to the podcast, I'm like, Justin is the one who likes to start everything, and I'm the one that needs that like adrenaline boost by checking off that it's complete. Like that is not something that.
Truthfully, I start a lot of projects and I finish some of them, but not all of them. So I get about 80% done, and I feel like this looks good. I'm cool. This project has worn its welcome, and I'm moved on to the next one already. So
for someone like me, it's not frustrating at all.
Yeah.
To have 3 sides of a shed painted. It's fine. So identify what their best skills are, and then make sure that you have them in the right spot. Don't put your most bubbly person as an office manager who's kind of like hidden away in a corner working on iClass or Jackrabbit all day, right? Put your excitable person, your person who wants to like be inventive and do creative things, put them in a role, maybe with birthday parties, or, coming up with lesson plans for events, or in your preschool program. Like, you can teach skills. Skills are easy to teach. It's who somebody is and a personality style, and that's hard to teach.
Yep.
You can't put somebody into a box they don't belong in.
But still, do the personality test with your staff. Have fun with it, because it does bring out realizations about different people, and kind of pulls them out of their bubble, if they're in a bubble, or they're in because it relates to them, and they can start talking about it. And it actually helps you in finding positions in the business and stuff. So that's how we've done this over the years. So
I'll link a couple of those too into the notes, the show notes, so that you guys can see a couple that I would recommend that you can do. They're not all free, but sometimes it's worth the investment into doing something like that.
Absolutely.
So, okay. Number 2, broaden their training beyond the skills.
Yep.
So we did a staff retreat, went down to Branson
super
last
good time.
year.
Yeah, really, really good time. Yep.
Yeah, we had a great time. But you would think, okay, well, what's the benefit of going somewhere else, renting out an Airbnb for a staff retreat, if all you're going to do is spot back handsprings and, tell them the best ways to help a kid get there, switch like back walkover and like all these things, because then you got to drag mats all the way down there. Yeah, that was not the intention of the retreat at all. About 50% of your coach's jobs involve retention, communication, things way beyond skills training.
Sales.
Yeah. Even connection with parents and kids. Like if you have a coach who can teach the skills, but they struggle to connect on that personal level, they're really not that great of a coach.
Yep.
So you've got to go beyond that. I recently talked to somebody on a call and we were talking about their staff. They said, our staff could use some work. I asked them, do you talk about and teach things at your staff meetings about like retention and what is the gym doing to bring new kids in? What is the gym doing to keep kids in? And what is their role in all that? And they said, well, no, we don't. Not really.
So one of the neat things about going to a different city, like in this case, down to kind of, Branson is kind of the mini Vegas of Missouri. So
for old people.
For older people. But it has go-karts and all, mini putt-putts and all that kind of stuff. So it has a strip and all these shows and stuff. But anyways, the cool thing about it is it showed our staff that we really, really value them. One, to take them down and put them in an Airbnb and hang out for a couple of days, go-karting, go have the fun things, but also do this training and really be intentional about, hey, we're in a fun place, but we're very, very much putting a lot of importance on these subjects. So, and we had the people that did it the best train it while they were down there. And like, this is how I do things, and have them ask questions in a more of a fun environment. So,
and that's key. If you find that as the owner, you are the one speaking and training and teaching at every meeting, you're missing the mark, because I can be good at learning something, but as soon as you tell me I have to teach it, I'm going to have to become great at it.
Yeah. Or, it's kind of like a wife or the boss. You always see them. You're always listening to them. You kind of tune them out after a while.
Wait a minute.
It happens. Like, I'm just being honest, being transparent. I can tune you out accidentally on purpose, but it happens. But if you're having some of your own peers telling you how they're doing things, that's different. And it's pretty cool. So
also, the people in the gym know who's good at stuff. So like, in my gym, people know that Lexi is good at communicating with parents. She's good at, selling them on why they should sign up for an event or do their birthday party with us or whatever. They know that Patrick is good at explaining the skills to parents and having that communication with athletes and working through, I hate to say mental blocks, but those difficult situations with athletes. So why would I teach those things? Am I better at them? I don't know. But why wouldn't I put people who are in those positions who the whole staff knows they're great at those things and then have them train?
Yep. All right. Number 3.
Identify how your staff feels the most appreciated. And it may not be what you think.
There are some people that if you were to announce their name in front of a group, that's like punishment to them. So you have to find out their personalities, what they enjoy. Some people like public recognition and they thrive on it, like just to announce their name and how well they did in front of everybody, just like you've filled their cup to overflowing. So finding out those different personality types and then complimenting them or giving them affirmation in that way help, take you miles. So anyways.
Other people, they might like more private affirmation. There really isn't a wrong answer. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't need public affirmation. Actually, a lot of people who say that actually do. There's also, the title or authority or the next challenge. Yep. That can be ways that people feel appreciated. That's actually how I am. I don't know that it's as much about the title, but it's about the feeling that like you've considered me an expert on this now, and I feel good about that. I feel successful in this area. And you trust me enough that now you're willing to give me something bigger, something more challenging, something harder. And so like, that's how I feel appreciated. Like, you did this one task well, now let me give you the next challenge.
Or it could be gifts, bonuses, pay raises, things like that.
And I think there's a misconception that everybody feels most appreciated when you give them, a raise or a gift card or something like that. Some people honestly just need more consistent affirmation.
Yeah.
So.
And it could be that you do a combo of those, if the person definitely likes to be affirmed, but you're also normally giving out like a Starbucks gift card or something like that. You do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because other people are going to see that. And if they're a gift card type person or a gift person, that's going to speak to them as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a book called The 5 Love Languages, and they've actually taken this book and adapted it for employee situations because the gift of touch would be real weird in the workplace. They actually do still have it in there, but it's like high fives and stuff. But anyway, they've adapted this for the workplace. And if you haven't read that book, it's really good because it helps you see how can people feel the most appreciated and that you care about them, which when we get into generational differences in a little bit here, you're going to see that it makes a really big difference that people feel appreciated based off of, their generation and just who they are as a person.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4,
evaluations for performance.
But it has to be consistent.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't just kind of randomly say like, oh man, we haven't done this person's evaluation in like 2 years and now they're asking for a raise. We need to do an evaluation.
Yeah. And it's systemized. It's
right.
not something where you're like, hey, let's do an evaluation. And there's not really a checklist or anything that they even know why they're being evaluated or how they're being evaluated. So you want to talk about how we used to do it at the beginning?
Yeah. It was very awkward. We would decide, this person has been here for 6 months. We need to do an evaluation on them. And I had this little clipboard with like a paper, and Angie or I would go sit next to them while they were coaching the class. And I would literally be 3 feet from them listening to what they were doing and saying and body language. And I would just take notes and then we'd sit down afterwards. We were on the right track, but I'm going to tell you, anybody can be a great coach one time. Anybody can have the best communication and eye contact and body language one time. So it wasn't the most effective.
Is it better than nothing? Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it wasn't the best.
Yes. So now we actually have our staff do a self-evaluation, and then we also rate them on the same things. And we're not talking rating like 1 to 5. It does have something on there just so there's a quantifiable method. Yeah. But like qualitative feedback is really what people are looking for. And it's that feedback where you're giving details. Hey, I've seen you out on the floor and coaching in this class or this team. And these are a couple things that I think would be valuable for us to work through and, train on moving forward. But here's the best part.
It's your face. It's your face.
It's your face.
Yeah.
You need to watch this.
Yeah. Got to watch all that.
Yeah. But here's the best part. When you do a self-evaluation component, you don't have to be the bad guy most of the time.
Oh, this is key.
Ding, ding, ding.
Sometimes people are harder on themselves. Well, I shouldn't say sometimes. I bet a lot of times people are harder on themselves than you would even be on them. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that a staff member doesn't bring up something that you wanted to bring up anyway. Because even if you feel like they're totally unaware of something, in one way or another, they feel it, they recognize it. Maybe they're just really shy and uncomfortable talking to parents, or they are total conflict avoiders when it's necessary to have difficult conversations. You as the owner or as a manager or director don't always have to be the person to bring that up because they probably know that that's the case. And you're going to find that in the self-evaluation. And now you can turn it around as the owner and say, okay, so knowing that you know that, let's talk about a couple ways that we can train so that you can get better at those scenarios.
Right. I would assume that all of your employees want to do a better job. If they're not wanting to do a better job, you might want to look at a different employee. I mean, somebody that just comes in and is like, I'm good. I don't need to get any better. I'm just chilling. Probably not going to be a good employee for you. But most people want to do a better job. So just help them along. And in this case, we have parameters. So it's very easy just to have different areas of their business that you're going to ask them questions about themselves, and then let them talk about it, and then you can discuss it with them. It makes it more of instead of a one-sided conversation. Now it's two-sided conversation, and that's a very productive situation. So yeah.
But don't just have them do the self-evaluation. Make sure you're doing it also, because the concept of self-evaluation at the beginning was a little strange for me because remember in the Air Force, you did your own enlistment performance report.
Yep.
Right? Or enlistment performance report.
Yeah.
And like
EPR.
You wrote about all the accomplishments that you made that year. And you wrote, all the areas that you volunteered in and the contribution you made to your office or your squadron. And it just didn't feel authentic.
No, for people that don't want a lot of recognition or don't really, I shouldn't say care about it, but like, I don't know, like don't need the self gratification like that. Mm-hmm. It felt very, very fake.
Yeah. Like I remember having to help Justin with his because he almost didn't even think about all the great things he did that year. And, you create this performance report and then your supervisor essentially just signs off on it. Like, yep, I agree. Good job. But these are the things that go up to like a higher headquarters and determine if you're going to be eligible for promotion and stuff like that. So it almost like self-sabotage if you're somebody who doesn't need that affirmation because you're not always thinking about the great things that you did.
Well, and not only that, but a lot of people are going to like perform classes or taught a bunch of classes and they didn't have anybody leave. Nobody had disenrolled because they had great retention in those classes. They might not even see that. Mm-hmm. Or they might just write down that we've had a really good, last 6 months. I've just really bonded with the kids and that's it. Just really mild and small accolades for that. When that this is unprecedented area. So for you to come back and write down unprecedented last 6 months in these classes because nobody has quit and the retention is 100%. Incredible. Like you write down that kind of stuff and they're just writing down that they've really bonded with the kids. Like, man, what a insight for that person to see. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just, that's the kind of stuff that people really, really, and especially as an employee would really, really gravitate to and want to stay. Mm-hmm. They're being noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that kind of leads us into number 5, which is formal opportunities for them to provide you with feedback.
Yep.
Right. And I don't just mean that self-evaluation, but an employer-employee relationship is honestly mutual in a lot of ways. Your staff members, let's be honest, guys, they can probably make more money at other places. They can get better hours that they're not working every night and every weekend. They can have less responsibility because your coaches don't go home at the end of the night and stop thinking about the routine or why a stunt didn't hit, or if a parent was upset that you pulled a kid from tumbling. If you work at a grocery store making $18 an hour and your cheer gym, you're making 15 or 16, gosh, what do you go home and worry about it? Like if I work at a grocery store and I go home at the end of the night, what do I worry about?
Or some kind of an assembly line job or something where you're just moving widgets from here to there. Like you're not going to be going home and worrying about how many widgets.
Did the widget get moved?
Yeah. How many widgets did I move today compared to yesterday? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But this one is a lot more service oriented and people persons and personalities. And I don't know.
So it's important for your staff to be able to give you feedback as well. I was talking to somebody last week and I said, does your staff have an opportunity to formally provide feedback to you? And they're like,
oh, yeah, we got open door policy.
Exactly. Open door policy. Well, here's the problem. I have an open door policy too, but sometimes I'm super focused on a job and my staff knows that. If I'm sitting at a computer doing math for 5 minutes and that happens to be the time that they have a second to come in and ask questions or, present a concern, they're not going to interrupt me because they see that I'm super hyper focused.
Which in reality is a closed door.
It kind of is. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens when you have a parent who's just chit chatting because they're killing time? Yeah. And we know this, guys, like you get held hostage every so often by a parent who just wants to chat. And, your staff is not going to interrupt that. They're not going to interrupt when you're in a difficult conversation. They're not going to interrupt when they think that you're in a serious or an important conversation. So that open door policy is not really the best way for you to be able to receive consistent feedback from your staff.
So you've got a better way.
Yes. So a form at the end of the night, something they can do electronically so that if you're not there at the end of the night.
They can do or have to do or should do.
Yeah, I prefer that they have to do it, even if the answers are, nope, don't need anything today. Right. And it can
Did you have any problems in your
in
your classes tonight? Did anything break? Did anything,
It can honestly be a couple of simple questions.
Yeah.
Did you have any challenges? And is there anything we can help you with moving forward? You might have a challenge. We've read these before, and some people had ones that were like, Susie's mom is still trying to coach her from the sidelines. So now it's an opportunity for us to both train the coach on how to have communication with that parent and for us to kind of observe, what is Susie's mom coaching on?
Yeah. Pay a little more attention to Susie's mom.
Yeah. Do you need to hire her? Because she's actually really good. I'm kidding. But maybe. So like those opportunities for formal feedback are necessary, and don't assume that that open door means that you are hearing all the feedback that your staff wants to provide you.
When you make it as easy as possible for your staff, you start hearing stuff down to the minimal. Like, what are some issues? Well, her issue was Susie's mom that night. But the neat thing is you hear about it way earlier than the person would normally bring it to you, because normally they're going to bring it to you when Susie's mom is literally yanking her kid off the floor, yelling at her, and then putting her back out there crying and stuff like that. Now she's going to come in the office and just tell Danielle, hey, I had a problem with Susie's mom tonight. But in this case, you're hearing about it just that she's yelling from the sideline. So we can we can address it early on before it becomes a bigger issue. So making it as easy as possible for your staff to give you comments and feedback is key. In this case, it's very unassuming and very non-evasive. I'm trying to think, very passive ways of doing it. Yeah. Not passive aggressive, but just very passive ways that it's very like, hey, here's what we had tonight. So. Oh,
right. I trailed off and thinking that would actually be a good fireside chat topic is, when you've got the parents who are maybe a little too involved.
Yeah.
How do we resolve that? So, okay, guys, last one here on how to take a good employee and turn them into a great employee is number 6. Recognize there are some generational differences.
Oh, boy.
There are some generational differences. Would you like to speak to Generation X?
Sure. So in general, for Generational X, no pun intended, not as sophisticated with electronics. Like, when I was born, we didn't have cell phones. I remember when the car phone came out with the bag phone that was in a car and stuff like that. So not as good at coming around to those types of things. We like to be face to face. We like to see things, hear things face to face, and like just be upfront with us. Like there's not a lot of fluff. Not as much fluff. So I think that pretty much describes it. Is there anything else for Gen X? I know you studied these things. So
yeah, I think Gen X was all about work.
Yeah.
Not to sing that, but
work hard, play hard.
They were all about work until 2020. And I think for the first time in history, your generation kind of got the experience of like, this is what it might be like to work from home or, just get a different type of balance. And so that's what the statistics are saying these days, is that Generation X wants more of a work-life balance than they've ever wanted before because they got a little taste of it. So, yeah.
But yeah, that's Gen X.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm a millennial.
Okay.
We are people who like to collaborate, and you can kind of tell that because at the gym, we don't have individual offices. We have like one big office. We need affirmation. We need consistent feedback. If we're, I've actually told Justin this before, like I feel like a dog sometimes. Like if you tell me 3 weeks later something that annoyed you 3 weeks ago, like it doesn't really help me. I need it in the moment, or I need it immediately after, because I need that consistent feedback and affirmation.
Which Gen again?
Millennial.
Oh, millennial. Mm-hmm. There's no Gen, so you don't get it. You don't get a letter. There's like Gen Z, Gen X.
Oh no, we don't get a letter.
Oh, you guys are special. Mm-mm. Special.
That's right.
Okay. Unicorn.
We like transparency. So there's certain things that you don't need to tell your staff that do impact them. Your millennials are going to struggle with that a little bit. I would say I'm a little bit of a unicorn in this because they talk about how millennials love text messaging, and I've got like 45 unread text messages. But if you Facebook message me, I'll be there. And then we actually like to work remotely. So that's, I grew up 7th grade was like AOL was like the coolest thing ever. And as a result, I can type like 88 words a minute. So it's a different type of generation because I think we're probably the only generation that spent that much time on the keyboard specifically versus this, or you had like a typewriter.
It was still the same keys. What are you talking about? Like, oh my gosh.
Yes, but nobody could type that fast on a typewriter. Did you really ever use a typewriter?
No.
Yeah.
Like very little. Like we had to use sometimes, but
like in school, your assignments were like your papers in high school were probably handwriting.
Yeah.
We typed.
Yeah, I know.
We typed. Yeah. So like there are differences there to where, Gen X doesn't necessarily need that same level of transparency. They're just going to like kind of accept it and go out and do their jobs. Like millennials need that kind of transparency and collaboration. So, and then the last one, guys, the ones that you're probably employing the most on your part-time level right now is Gen Z. These are the people who were born between like 1997, 2012. Yep. They're independent. They're entrepreneurial, which I think is actually kind of interesting.
It is. Purpose driven. Yeah.
Yeah. How old would that put you? 25? There's actually a lot of gym owners that are opening gyms around that age right now. Yeah. So I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're purpose driven. They're very good with technology, obviously.
They have an expectation of everything must be digital.
Yes. So if you go into a gym and you are a Gen Z person and they're using binders and paper waivers and taking attendance with papers, they're probably going to be annoyed thinking like there are so many more efficient ways to do this.
Yeah. Why are you not doing this differently?
Yeah. They're really big on mental health. I was talking to someone the other day whose son is in college, and she was telling me that they get, like 5 mental health days a year that they can take, that they are not penalized. So if it's during a test or finals, that teacher is required to let them make it up.
Really?
Yeah. That's just this generation that they are very big on that mental health, and they need employers who value that. So if you are frustrated that your staff are wanting to take time off at Christmas, but then again at spring break and then again another week in the summer, like it's kind of what this generation is used to, because they want an employer who will value it, who will understand that time off is healthy and necessary. So maybe I'm a little bit also in this generation.
Oh yeah, because that one's like, no, you get your butt to work and you figure it out and sleep later and chill later and get your, I don't know.
Vacation when you die.
Yeah. You know what? It's planned. You plan your vacation. You plan this.
Yeah.
You have, holidays planned.
Yeah. Where I can tell you with our staff.
When you're sick, you're sick though. Maybe maybe you attribute sickness to.
That's when you get to vacation.
Your mental health. No. But I'm sick.
You are going to lose staff members. Like, let's say you have a staff member who's like, I just got concert tickets to Morgan Wallen and it's for Thursday night. And I know I'm supposed to work Thursday night. Can I get the night off? Like, I hate to tell you this, guys. And a whole bunch of you are going to just like, are you kidding me? But like, you have to do what you can to work with people, because there has to be a happy work balance for these people. There has to be an element of like, we understand. We'd want to go to, let's see what we can do to get you off for the night.
Yep.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting with the generations, and it's worth putting a little bit of research into it as an employer, because, the my way or the highway, you are going to struggle as an employer. You're not going to have a great staff culture. You're not going to be able to turn employees from good to great. You're going to struggle.
At the end of the day, this is probably these 6 areas, and just staff in general is one of the most important things in your business. If you master this area and have some of the best staff, your gym is awesome.
Absolutely.
But if you struggle with staff and you have a hard time keeping them and making them happy, making them feel like they have opportunities and stuff like that, you are going to be a one-man band, and it is going to be a struggle for you.
Yeah.
So this is definitely one of those areas you want to master, get better at, because at the end of the day, it's just going to like invest in this area right here, and it's going to pay you dividends, like lots and lots of dividends later. Our gym is as good as it is because of our staff.
Oh yeah.
But we put a lot of effort, like talking about going to Branson and getting an Airbnb and doing all that kind of stuff. We put a lot of investment that was not cheap to do. Like that costs a lot of money to take everybody down there. Take them out to Andy's, frozen custard, take them all go-karting and stuff like that. But they remember these things. They know that we care about them, and we put a lot of emphasis in it, and it pays us dividends back. Like I would say it's 4 to 1. Like if you could put your money into something and get 4 times back, this is the one.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But you can't just kind of go with the flow. You can't just say, yeah, I'm going to a staff meeting and I've got to review these policies, because people are just not following the policies. So the first 20 minutes of a staff meeting is you've got to pick up the mats at the end of the night. You've got to clock out. Like, guys, if that's what your staff meetings are looking like, you need to get some help from a coach or a mentor, because that is not what a staff meeting should be about.
Wait, this is the one where you go.
Yeah.
Yes. No, yeah. Do not do that.
Like, truly, you will find that you are struggling to retain staff. That's what our staff meetings used to be like. And I even dreaded. Yeah. Like, I even dreaded going to them. Nobody wants to go and feel like they're just getting, retribution the whole time. You want to go and be excited because you know you're about to learn things, and things that you didn't even realize you needed to learn.
So Danielle and I were both in the military back in the day, and we had commanders that were great people, a couple personable people. Yeah. And then we had other ones not so good. And it made meetings really fun or not so fun. You actually enjoyed going to certain meetings and being a part of them, and you paid attention, or you didn't, and you just dreaded them, and you were just like, the whole time you're thinking about something else.
Do you remember the biggest difference? Well, I mean, I can't say it without saying names, but the biggest difference for me, we had one commander where he would just essentially talk the whole time, and the other squadron commanders would report. And then we had the next, wing commander came in, and everyone had something they were speaking to. You had a minute and a half, because it was a huge room of people, a minute and a half and one PowerPoint slide, but you were letting people know, what you were working on, what challenges you had, and what people could be helping you with. Yeah. And it allowed everyone in the room to speak, and you got to know people, and you weren't just sitting there like falling asleep as a bystander anymore.
Yeah. You had a part in the whole ecosystem of what was going on. Yep. And it made you feel like you were a part of it. So,
and your staff should have that too. Yeah. Don't make it, anybody have anything? Let's go around the room, because we did those in our staff meetings and it was awful. Yeah. It needs to be more like, hey, this person is truly what we consider to be the expert at class retention. And so she is going to speak today and teach you guys what kind of things we're doing here in the gym and how you contribute to the staff retention or the class retention.
Or it could be that person is actually reporting every time on what class retentions are in different areas. And so it gives them something to report and talk about, like, hey guys, we're really doing a better job. Like,
take ownership of.
Yeah. We're like, 25% failure now. I don't know. I'm just throwing out dumb numbers, but anyways, but for real, like, give them little pieces so that you're not the one having to report that stuff. Let them be in charge of reporting that. And that's cool.
Yeah.
And especially if they have to pull the numbers and stuff too, out of like Jackrabbit or whatever, and they're like pulling those things out, or iClass, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That would be cool. So guys, we've got one question to ask you to kind of end this week's fireside chat. And that is, what area do you need to improve in? So if you're an owner watching this, how can you improve as an employer? If you're a manager or director, what area do you need to improve in to lead the remainder of the staff? And if you're a coach watching this right now, what could your employer be doing better? Send this fireside chat their way. Great, humble bosses want to learn and want to be better.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. And with that, we will see you on the next episode of Fireside Chat with the Johnstons.
Because I'm Justin.
Oh, and I'm Danielle. Are we restarting this whole thing? Get ready to sit here for another 45 minutes.
How do you know they're sitting there? They could be like sitting in their car. They could be riding a horse. I don't know.
Are you not sitting in both of those?
You totally are. But you're actually moving. So that's different.
I'm going to use Justin's line. All right, guys. Thanks. Ciao.
Ciao.
Then it's goodbye, Josephine. Ciao.
Hey guys, make sure that you get registered for the Next Gen one-day business builder event in the Mile High City.
Where's that at? That's in Denver, Colorado,
That's
right here. September 26th. Go to ngconferences.com to sign up today.